Hello, everyone. My name is Anastasia Manulak. I'm part of the Zabraka initiative, the initiative that is based in Ukraine and that is aimed to support Ukrainian artistic residencies and make them visible internationally. And I'm also head of visual arts at the Ukrainian Institute, a public institution that is affiliated to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Ukraine, and we work in terms of promoting Ukrainian culture internationally. I'm here to moderate today's meeting that is dedicated to the presentation of the English version of the toolkit of supporting artistic residencies that we call How to Make an Artistic Residency in Ukraine. I will make some organizational remarks first. So we have some speakers that are joining us from Ukraine, and in case of the air alarm, we ask the speakers to prioritize your safety first. In this case, we will have to make some changes in the program, and we'll try to give you the place and the mic at the first convenience that is better for you. I will start with the first introductions of the institutions that have established the Zabraka initiative in 2021. That is House of Europe EU program, the Ukrainian Institute, and Ukrainian Cultural Foundation. And I would like to give the first floor to Ivana Karpenyuk, manager of international cooperation of Ukrainian Cultural Foundation.
Thank you, Anastasia, for giving floor. Good day, everyone. I'm delighted to welcome you to this presentation of a very important tool for making art residences in Ukraine, which was a very fruitful result of our cross-institutional partnership. I mean, partnership between Ukrainian Cultural Foundation, Ukrainian Institute, and EU's program House of Europe. Speaking about artistic residences, I must admit that this type of cultural initiative occupies a special place in our activities because we had a dedicated grant strand for several consecutive years, and we continue supporting this similar initiatives within other calls. And that is why it's very valuable to us to be a part of this initiative of translating this tool, of composing this tool and presenting it to a large audience. After all, supporting cultural initiatives goes beyond funding, and it's also about knowledge sharing. It's also about sharing practices, expertise, and capacity building. This tool has a very holistic approach because it deals with very basic questions. Why do we need artistic residencies? And finishes with very practical recommendation and examples of even documents which are utterly useful for hosts of artistic residences. And given that, I would like to announce that there will be a nice opportunity to put this knowledge into practice, because this summer our project Cultural Horizons will launch a new grant call dedicated to support artistic residencies for Ukrainian artists and cultural professionals. That means that there will be an opportunity to get funding up to 20,000 euros to organize a residence or to set up an educational product on the basis of existing residences for Ukrainian artists. Said that, on this positive note, I would like to wish all the participants a productive presentation engaging discussions and also connections that will bring a lot of new collaborations in future. Thank you very much for joining.
Thank you, Ivana, and we are also very happy to have you with us. And I'll now give the floor to Anastasia Volkova, Head of Arts Programs at Ukrainian Institute. Anastasia, floor is yours.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. As Anastasia mentioned, I'm the head of arts program at the Ukrainian Institute. We're a public institution that works to foster cultural collaboration and present Ukrainian culture globally. So we are very happy to be here today as one of the founding partners of the Zabraka initiative. In 2020, I suppose, not 2021, but 20, Ukrainian Institute together with Culture Foundation, and House of Europe program, we launched this initiative to support the development of artistic residencies in Ukraine. And over the past 6 years, Zabraka has come a long way thanks to this initiative and this amazing team. Information about Ukrainian artistic residencies was included in the Trans Artist database that hosts us today, and online map of Ukrainian residencies was created, and also many consultations were held to support residency organizers and strengthen the capacity of the sector. So in 2023, Zabraka presented the first Ukrainian language toolkit guide for organizing artistic residencies in Ukraine. And today we're very pleased to present its English version, making this knowledge and experience available and to wider international audience community. So thank you for being with us, and I hope you enjoy this presentation, and I will hand it over to my colleagues.
Thank you, Anastasia, for this brief history of the Zabraka initiative. And I will then pass the floor to Vitaly Bobro, the manager of capacity building and discourse at House of Europe program.
Thank you, dear colleagues. I'm very glad to be here on behalf of House of Europe and Goethe Institute Ukraine team, and to be able to say a few welcoming words for this presentation. As has been mentioned, House of Europe was there quite a while, and we were there in 2023 for the Ukrainian version of the toolkit, and we also joined forces with other partners and colleagues now to have the English one available. And we are, of course, very thankful to Zabraka Initiative, to Ukrainian Institute, Ukrainian Cultural Foundation, Trans Artists, to all the numerous people and organizations, everyone who was so invested in making the toolkit available. One of the main objectives of the House of Europe is building contacts between Ukraine and EU and UK. And with the English version of the toolkit made public, the unique knowledge and know-how of our Ukrainian professionals can be shared widely. And we do believe that there is very much to share. Recently, at House of Europe, we published a book, which was also presented in Brussels on an event called Lessons for a Brave World. In this book, some of our alumni share their lessons in resilience in the face of Russian war of aggression against Ukraine. And the persistence of the Zabraka team and numerous Ukrainian culture and education professionals is one of those lessons in resilience for me. One of those lessons to be shared and known, among other things, in order to shape new perception of Ukraine and our vivid cultural life in many, many other countries and among ourselves still. So thank you again, and congratulations on this extremely important accomplishment. Thank you.
Thank you, Vitaly. So Zabraka was initiated by 3 partner institutions, which we have heard just now. The 3 institutions that work closely with mobility programs in Ukraine, and that's why it was important for the managers of these institutions to combine their efforts and to combine our joint ideas and work in terms of enhancing the movement of artistic residences in Ukraine. And that is even more important, to bring this knowledge to our international colleagues. That's where we started in 2020. In 2022, Zabraka was part of the organizational committee of the conference of Res Artists platform that was supposed to open in Kyiv in 2022, and that was called How to Inhabit Instability. Unfortunately, due to the full-scale invasion of Russia to Ukraine, the conference did not happen, but our cooperations with our partners continue, and that brought us to the importance to bring the knowledge about Ukrainian residencies to our international colleagues. With this in mind, we started to develop a toolkit, first of all, for Ukrainian residencies to mark the whole idea of artistic residencies and artistic residencies landscape and movement in Ukraine, and also to encourage those who are considering to start an artistic residency to do so. We did that, and in 2023, already after the full-scale invasion of Russia to Ukraine, we had published the Ukrainian toolkit that is called Підказник to bring this knowledge to our Ukrainian colleagues. But we had received so much feedback from our international colleagues that are interested in what is happening in Ukraine, how artistic residences manage to still continue their work, what challenges they face, and what successes they have, that we decided that we need to translate that in English, and here it is. And that's what we are announcing and happy to make public today. With this idea, we also want to bring a bigger community of artistic residences, and really happy to have trans artists as our good friends and our partners. The whole idea of Zabraka is very closely connected to cooperation with trans artists back from 2020. So I'm happy to give the mic to Bojana Panevska, who is representative of trans artist and program advisor, artist, researcher, writer, and a good friend of the Zabraka initiative. So Bojana, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Anastasia, and thank you everyone who's joining today. It's nice to see so many of our Ukrainian colleagues online. I'm happy to see you safe and continuing the good work, which is very important, I believe, to note. And first, my congratulations on the amazing toolkit, which I said before we started, but I can repeat it now officially, now for everyone who's joining. It's a very interesting toolkit, beautifully written, beautifully designed. And one thing that strikes me the most is how the situation in which we are operating, war, living under martial law, how lightly is that incorporated in the whole toolkit. It's really amazing that how here and there you will just, and I'm getting goosebumps while I'm talking about it, but it's just like here and there it is mentioned, the situation and everything, but it's not, that is not the focus of the toolkit, which maybe somewhere in the back of my head I expected that maybe there will be some how to organize a residency under a wartime. But I think what you did is way more amazing. That's what I don't know why I expected. And I think that's it's going to be a very useful toolkit for our international colleagues that will hopefully not get into the situation in which you're living your everyday life. But still, it's very useful to have to see how to operate under conditions that are far, far from ideal. And having said all of that, I made while you were talking, I made like a sort of history of our collaboration between trans artists and Zabraka. And I believe I met you in 2019 physically when I was for the first time in Kyiv myself, and then Corona came, and I know about Res Artists, the conference, so this whole story, the formation of Zabraka. And I'm assuming that most of the people who joined know trans artists, but now just a few words about us. What we are doing, we are collecting information about artists in residencies from all around the world and place them on our website. We have two main criteria for this, which is the residency to be open to at least few different nationalities of artists, and that if a fee is asked from the artist to be paid, artistic fee, that it should correspond to the cost of living in that area where the residency is located. Apart of that, we do a lot of research around residencies. We work with with pretty much all the other residency networks that are out there, whether it is Res Artist, Artist Communities Alliance, Transcultural Exchange, On the Move, or the many regional networks like Zabraka, for example, or JAIR, their network in Japan, and so many others that are all around the world. We do workshops, we do also presentation, and finally we are part of a bigger organization called Dutch Culture, based in Amsterdam, that focuses on encouraging international collaboration between Dutch artists and the world. And then, of course, that incorporating the whole world, we try to help out where we can. So if I'm not mistaken, around Corona time, we agreed that you will map all the residencies, that Zabraka will map all the residencies in Ukraine, and that knowing all the criteria that TransArtist has, and then you provided us with a list of places that we included in our database. After the full-scale invasion in the 2022, you did publish the toolkit in Ukrainian, but then in end of 24, and Lina, I'm looking at you, it was end of 24, right? It wasn't end of 25. We did the new update of the Ukrainian residencies with the idea of knowing what is happening in Ukraine, and with the idea whether these residencies are still open to international artists. Of course, many residencies focused on helping Ukrainian artists, very understandable, but here and there some state that are welcoming international artists as well. I just checked. We currently have 12 residencies in our database, Ukrainian residencies. I would assume, since it looks like by my history here that we do it every 2 years, so I would assume that end of this year we can do another update of what is happening. But I know some artists that been to Ukraine, whether through a visitors program or to a residency. And I think it is very important to keep these connections. It's not something that, of course, we can encourage people to go, as also it is written in the toolkit. It is artists are going there on their own risk, and it's. But I know many artists who are doing it, and I'm very proud of everyone. Just like I'm proud of every one of you. And what we can help in the future, how we can help. I mean, we are here to, whether it is organizing in meetings or welcoming you also in Amsterdam or around Europe or the world. But in any case, I'm really, really happy that our collaboration is still ongoing. And yes, we are out there to help out where we can, for you and for all the residency organizers, of course.
Thank you, Vojana, for this sustainable and continuous support. And it's always a pleasure for us to be working with you and TransArtists. So if you're interested in learning more about Ukrainian residencies apart from the toolkit, you can visit the website of TransArtists and have a look at the residencies that are there. One of the aims of the Zabraka initiative is to constantly monitor the situation that is happening with Ukrainian residencies. We keep in touch with the residency hosts to learn about their needs and to try to react on that, and also to facilitate some communication and exchange in between Ukrainian residencies. So we also try to archive the information that is there and the changes and the tendencies in Ukrainian residential landscape, and that's also something that Zabraka is constantly doing. But coming back to the toolkit and how it was done, I would like now to give the floor to one of the main people who stands behind the creation and the development of the document, the editor, the member of Zabraka, Les Vinogradov. Les, please share some of the insights with us.
Thank you, Nastya. Hi, everyone. It's really nice to be here. Yeah, I think there is some context that you should understand to kind of know what Toolkit is really about. And I think it's worth mentioning, yeah, that we began working on the original Ukrainian version way back into 2021. So that was a very different world. And as Anastasia mentioned, in September 22, Kyiv was to host the international conference by the Res Artists Network in cooperation with Izolatia Foundation, the Ukrainian Institute, House of Europe, and Goethe Institute Ukraine. The Zabraka team, a very young team back then, co-programmed the event, and it was to become the first international art residency forum of such a scale in Ukraine. And our ambition was to present the toolkit at the conference. As Nastya also mentioned, the conference was titled How to Inhabit Instability, and we planned to hold it in a hybrid format due to quarantine restrictions. Remember those times? But with the beginning of the full-scale Russian invasion, it became clear that the circumstances were simply stronger than our shared resolve. And the title of the conference also took on a whole new meaning. One of the main impulses to create the toolkit came from the requests that we received from people who wanted to launch an art residency program of their own, but they didn't know where to start. And since Zabraka is an initiative that provides, consulting and knowledge sharing, we were constantly approached by artists and cultural managers in Ukraine, asking all sorts of questions about whether you need a curator in a residency, how to plan the program properly, or where to get funding. And there was no single database of, useful sources covering various nuances of organizing an art residency, especially when we talk about the turbulent Ukrainian realities. So we decided that it was our task at Zabraka to create such a knowledge base. All Zabraka members came from institutions that have supported residency programs in one way or another for years. So we did our best to systematize our professional experience when mapping out the toolkit. But perhaps even more importantly, we conducted a series of in-depth interviews with the organizers of some of the key art residencies in Ukraine, including but not limited to Alektina Kakhidze of Muzici Expanded History near Kyiv, Lyudmila Nechai of Nazary Voitovich Art Residency in the village of Travneve in the west of Ukraine, Irina Polikarchuk of Art Suite in Dnipro, and Diana Berg of Tube Platform in Mariupol. So we talked to 9 residencies overall, and we had a wide range of experiences, both in terms of geography, structure, and scale. Unfortunately, some of these residencies no longer exist due to the invasion. We asked them about the most important things in organizing a residency, the challenges they faced in their work, and the principal areas of growth for Ukrainian residencies. And the toolkit is the result of these conversations, pretty much. We structure the toolkit narratively as if you are organizing your first residency. It starts with more general questions about what art residencies are and what they are for, and gradually moves on to more specific and practical aspects of organizing a residency program. We cover all the basics, such as finding your niche and formulating your objectives as a residency, recapping what resources you may already have and what you need to get going, what people you should have in your team, how to build partnerships, how to plan properly, how to budget, all the logistics around bringing the artists to your residency, legal aspects you should keep in mind, documenting and archiving your residency, working on your mistakes, and finally, how to keep in touch with your alumni after the residency is over. At the end of the toolkit, we present several successful cases of sustainable art residencies in Ukraine as a kind of role models or simply sources of inspiration. In addition, we prepared several documents, templates that can come in handy when working on a residency. So we have a checklist of tasks to keep in mind, a budget template, and a sample residency agreement. I think it is important to highlight, and Bojana touched on that a little bit. So while this toolkit is really informed by Ukrainian experience and is, of course, originally adapted to our very specific circumstances, it is not a, let's say, hermetic document that is useless outside of Ukraine. We wrote it with best practices in mind. We studied other toolkits published in Europe over the past decade or so, and our dream is to have a cultural scene that is based on principles of care and respect for each participant in this process, as well as for our common environment and all its inhabitants, human and non-human. And in this context, I'm certain that most things in this toolkit will be relevant and quite useful for artists and organizers around the world. But of course, most immediately to our closest neighbors who share a lot of the same struggles as Ukrainians. So I hope you enjoy reading it. And I can't fail to mention Alevtina Kahidze's illustrations that make it such a fun and relatable experience. Unfortunately, Alevtina couldn't make it to our call today, but I'd like to give the floor to Anastasia, who will talk a little bit more about the art side of the toolkit. Thank you.
Thank you, Les, for such a detailed explanation of the work that was done in terms of preparing this document. So as Les already mentioned, it was important for us to engage the community of Ukrainian residencies to the creation of this toolkit. We started with the in-depth interviews with a lot of different participants and residency hosts in Ukraine. For the proofreading, we also, and the focus group that we invited to give the first initial feedback to the document, we also invited our good friends that represent residencies. And it was also a natural step for us to invite Alevtina Kahidze, a well-known artist from Ukraine who runs her own residency in Muzichi village, very close to Kiev, to illustrate the toolkit, giving her own insights and also reflecting with her artistic language to the material that is in the document. So while you are reading the toolkit, this also serves as kind of visual aid for the readers, and it was a fantastic cooperation for us. For the translation of Ukrainian version, we invited Natalia Firsova and Tanya Rodionova. Tanya Rodionova is a representative of Translatorium residency herself. So for us, it was also important that people who stand behind the translation of the document know firsthand what artistic residency is. Now is also the time for me to read the acknowledgements of everyone who stands behind the document. So you have already listened to the editor, Les Vinogradov. The text belongs to the Zabraka initiative, and namely Yulia Alenina, Katerina Alimova, Natalia Kernitska, Lina Romanucha, Les Vinogradov, and myself, Anastasia Manulak. The illustrations are made by Alevtina Kahidze and translation into English by Natalia Firsova and Tanya Rodionova. We are grateful to Clemens Pool for proofreading the English version of the document. The layout was made by Alexandra Vinnitska and Oksana Krasnoshchok. And the people who were the residency hosts and who reviewed the text and were our first focus group are Alevtina Kahidze, Yulia Kostareva, Yuri Kruchak, Leonid Marushchak, Irina Polikorchuk, Olga Tikhonova, and Nastya Khlistova. And the special thanks goes to the people who were interviewed by the Zabraka initiative at the beginning of preparing the document: Diana Barf, Anna Haidai, Danilo Halkin, Lyudmila Nechai, and Petro Ryaska. And with this, I would like to give the floor to the representative of Ukrainian residency, the residencies that we talk so much about. That is Irina Polikarchuk, the director of Art Svir Gallery in Dnipro. Irina, the floor is yours.
Hello, dear colleagues and partners. Thank you for having me today. And actually, for me, it was a big pleasure and an honor to share our experience, and today as well to maybe talk more what has changed from the previous edition, I mean the Ukrainian one. Actually, our journey with residencies began back in 2019, and from the start we focused on the educational component, group dynamics, and the deep artistic exploration of our city. Dnipro, which is in the eastern part of Ukraine, has always been a complex and multi-layered puzzle, and the residencies became our way to solve it. And today, as our colleagues present this tool in its English version, I see it not just a manual, but as a shared memory and the roadmap for our survival and development. Why is this document so important? In our field, in Ukraine as well, we often learn by doing, gaining experience right in the middle of the project. And this guide is unique because it speaks through the voices of practitioners. It captures the diverse formats from Ukrainian residencies, like, for example, from academic research to experimental labs, and provides practical tools for those who are just starting or want to transform their approach. And it is all about solidarity, actually, because we share our mistakes and discoveries to make the path easier for others. When our colleagues were working on this text back a couple of years before, on the Ukrainian version, the world was a different place. The full-scale invasion, of course, forced us to put everything on pause, and in Dnipro, a city that became a major logistical and medical hub close to the front line, safety became the main priority. We spent a lot of time thinking, are the residencies even appropriate now? Can we bring people from other cities or countries? Who will be responsible for their safety? And this is how new approaches were born, actually, because before we aimed to bring people from the outside, but now our focus is on those who stay. We focus on the people from Dnipro and artists from frontline regions. There are residencies for people who live in a high-risk zone every single day, and we realized that supporting our own communities and creating a safe intellectual space for them is our most vital mission today. Today, we see an incredible resilience of the residency sector in Ukraine. It adapts to new conditions and new formats appear. In Western Ukraine, for example, retreat formats are available for artists that can recover there, and other regions, the focus is often on networking and research. And interesting that group formats have become more popular. It is important for us to be together so we don't feel isolated, and we can go through this experience together. And this summer, for example, at Arts with Gallery, we are planning two major events. We plan a land art residence and performance residence. This is also our way to bring art back into the city's public space, even under current conditions in Dnipro, and giving the voice for those who choose to stay and work in Ukraine. We collaborate in these residencies with international experts, for example, because we plan group residencies, and we plan to invite international curators to work with people, to moderate this activity, to help them interact with the city and develop their artistic practices. So an international component is also important here, but mostly we focus on people who stay. I truly believe that the English version of this guide is a bridge. We see a strong interest in our culture, but foreign colleagues often find it hard to understand our daily operations. And this translation will help people, and like you guys, decode the Ukrainian context. What do I want you to understand? First of all, Ukraine is not just a war zone. It's a territory of unique cultural experiences, and in organizing residencies as well. And if you contact directly different actors from the cultural sector, you'll see that our experience of working through total uncertainty is becoming relevant to the whole world, which is growing more and more unstable. We are learning to be highly flexible and create new formats. We have mastered crisis management when we are planning our events and residencies as well. We always prepare for multiple scenarios and find solutions in advance. And this experience can serve as a valuable lesson in global resilience. So this guide is our base. And today we're building new practices on top of it. I hope this guide will be the start for many connections and will strengthen our global artistic community. So thank you very much for translating into English. We can share our experience and get new partners and connections, and hopefully in more stable and safe world in Dnipro as well, in Ukraine.
Thank you, Irina, for your speech and for everything you do, especially for the Dnipro cultural scene. And we're very happy to have you with us today. I would like now to give the floor to my colleague from Zabraka initiative, Lina Romanucha, to share a little bit more about what we do at Zabraka, what our next plans are, and to introduce you to the toolkit itself.
Thank you, Anastasia. It's my pleasure to see you all today, and I think even this event, it's goodly show to us that residencies can be also a great cohesion tool. And I would like to say a few words about where actually you can find the English version of Toolkit. And we now published it on 3 main sources. First of these, it's Ukrainian Institute website, then House of Europe and Zabraka Google Drive. After this meeting, we will make post on Facebook and under YouTube channel where we'll share all the links, so you can likely join it, read, and also we will be very thankful for your feedback, because for us it's very important to understand maybe we need to develop something or to find the other way for sharing our unique experience. And also I would like to thank to all institutions and people who were with us during this long journey. And first of all, it's Ukrainian Institute for the support with translation of Toolkit, House of Europe for the support with proofreading, Ukrainian Culture Foundation for the design of Ukrainian version and technical support of today's event, and also for Trans Artists for international informational support. And if we talk about our future plans as Ukrainians who experience a lot blackouts, we still hope that one day we will have enough sources to print this toolkit at least in a small edition. So we will have a physical version of this work. So thank you very much for your time, join, and hope we will be in touch with you later on as well.
Thank you, Lina. So as my colleagues mentioned, we designed the initial toolkit, of course, after the pandemic, and now we publish it after the full-scale invasion of Russia to Ukraine, but we had in mind a relatively safe time for running our artistic residency, and we believe that in the future it will still be relevant, and that the situation will be more suitable for residencies in Ukraine and worldwide. But with the challenges that the world is now facing, it is still important for us to share this unique expertise of Ukrainian artistic residencies and Ukrainian artists that still continue their work, and this amazing work that is still being done by our colleagues. So if you would like to learn more about Zabraka, we have a Facebook page, and that's the best source to reach out to us for now. That's how it's called, the Zabraka Initiative. And of course, the information about initiative is there on the websites of the institutions that had established the initiative, the Ukrainian Institute, Ukrainian Cultural Foundation, and House of Europe program. And that's where you can find the toolkit in both languages, Ukrainian and English. We have participants joining us online, and we are very grateful for your time and for being with us. If you have any questions, that is the time for you to do so. So if you have a question, please just write the comment under the YouTube translation, and we will notice it. And that's the good possibility to continue the conversation that we have with today's speakers. If we don't have any questions.
We don't have any questions, but probably we're going to have them after.
Hopefully. So this meeting will be recorded, and so is the toolkit that is now available. We also are leaving the link to the toolkit under the translation on the YouTube channel, so that you can easily find it. And I guess I'll be thanking all of the speakers. Thank you for bringing so diverse perspectives to running an artistic residency, to creating the toolkit. And I believe that this exchange will bring even future cooperations that we can witness soon. Thank you all for your time, for your help, for your support. On behalf of the Zabraka Initiative, I'm very grateful to each of you and to those participants that have been mentioned in the acknowledgements but could not join us today. And please follow us on Facebook so that we could also keep you in touch on our new ideas and for future projects. Thank you.